Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Good Vibe Show with me, Vivek Atray. And we are in Chennai today, believe it or not, with Anil Srinivasan. Welcome to the show, Anilji.
Thank you, Vivek ji. Pleasure to be on your lovely show.
And thanks for making it happen. We are in a Chennai studio. We discussed this yesterday when we met over a meeting, which we often do, and we work together on various things. And he very, very kindly agreed, and not only agreed to be there, but also to set this up. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. And a Chennai experience is not complete unless you're in one of our music studios. So that's why we decided to do this.
Let's talk about the Chennai experience before we come to you. The food, the music, the culture. What a great city we live in.
Absolutely, sir. It's my hometown. And I was born here, brought up here. While I studied, lived, worked abroad, I still came back here like everybody else who's born and brought up in Chennai does. And we have our own vibe, so to speak.
You do have, and this good vibe show. Hopefully, this episode will be a great vibes episode.
Thank you.
And visiting Chennai gives me that. It just gives me joy. Every time I come, I feel more close to the city, the culture, and you are an integral part. So, just to introduce Anil Srinivasan for a minute, he's a neuroscientist, he's a musician, he's an award winning musician, rather, and he's an entrepreneur. And KRUU, which you can see on his shirt, KRUU, is something we're working on together, which is education for the leaders of tomorrow. So, Anilji, tell us about KRUU and then we'll come back to your journey.
Thank you, Vivek ji. It's a very kind introduction. KRUU was an initiative started just a little over 14 months ago, wherein I felt that all children, regardless of their background, no matter where they came from, should have equal access to opportunities to work with and learn from the best in the world in different fields. So, if you have subject experts in any field, whether it's artificial intelligence or it's zoology, every child, whether they're sitting in a tier 3 India town, a tier 4 India town, one of our villages, should have the same access as their counterparts in cities have. And while I mean access, it is not just listening to those experts talk about those different fields, but also being given projects that they can then execute and pick up skills, very valuable skills, which teaches them about themselves, teaches them about what they would like to do, but more importantly, also identify future pathways for themselves. Right. So I believe that this great nation of ours, there is so much talent, there is so much potential sitting har kone mein, it's sitting everywhere, and not everybody gets the same exposure even to what opportunities are available. I'm able to sit in a music studio and talk to you. This itself is a luxury for a large number of people. And it's not to say that musical or recording talent is not there. It's out there and we need to get it. So we have to first give them that exposure, access. Why can't a Harvard professor or a Stanford professor who is mitti se hain, they have born and brought up here, Indians, as professors all over the world, why can't they in turn sort of pass back that knowledge to our own children, regardless of where they come from, and equip them with skills that are needed to battle the 21st century? So that's how we started KRUU. In 14 months, it's grown to over 300,000 or 3 lakh students, about more than 50 professors and institutions which have signed up and growing. And I'm happy to say that literally from Kangra Valley to Kanyakumari, we have children who are now part of KRUU, and it's a great journey. You have been a great help for us in guiding us, mentoring us in many ways.
It's a
on
pleasure
KRUU.
to be a part of it. And what you've explained so succinctly and so powerfully is exactly what excited me. The use of technology to get back those world class professors and teachers to the youth wherever they are. And KRUU is a great example of that, and lakhs of students benefiting. Now, Anil Srinivasan, from a student day to the musician to the entrepreneur to the visiting professor, a little short explanation of how this happened, why it happened, what is this wondrous journey?
So I'm going to call this journey How I Lost My Hair. That's going to be this journey. And I'm going to split it into the various stages, like you said. I was 3 years old when I developed an interest in music. I don't have any recollection of it, obviously, but from what my parents have told me, apparently I walked over to a piano and just started playing. And in those days, we didn't have Instagram, so they couldn't capture it. No reels were made, only reels were made. And I've been a musician throughout my life.
Yeah.
I learned classical piano. I also learned Carnatic music growing up in Chennai. And the combination of the two has helped me carve a pathway for myself in music. And I would say a very generous government gave me the Sangeet Natak Academy
Well deserved.
Youth Award in 2010, and then my state, Tamil Nadu, gave me the State Award of the Kalanamani in 2019. So I've been very lucky and blessed through music to have met wonderful people. I think music opens the doors to the entire universe. We call it a universal language. It makes you meet a lot of people that you otherwise would not meet, and it unites a lot of people. And I've always looked at music as a responsibility to bring a lot of people together. I think that's what is the guiding philosophy behind even KRUU and every other initiative I have done. Um, because I grew up in Chennai and I had a love for maths, it meant that growing up in a traditional South Indian household, I had no choice but to study as much as possible. I did a master's in communications. I also got an MBA. And then I went on for my doctoral education at Columbia University, where I specialized in neuroscience, specifically looking at the combination of how the brain specifically processes information in different ways, what we call information processing. And I looked at music being one of those inputs. How does the brain respond when listening to music? How does the brain react to music, and how does it use that information to function? How do human beings function differently when they are exposed to music?
Inspiration comes to you, to me, from various quarters. You are probably one of the most well-known people in Chennai, even though you're so humble. And I met Ramesh Krishnji with you. Vajanti Malaji is known to your family. There's so many people. Mr. R. Mohan we met. They're all icons of their own right. You've played before the President of India. Who has inspired you the most?
My parents, I think, both my mother and father, on entirely different reasons. Um, my mother, because I mean, as a lady, I've seen her hold it together despite going through very trying circumstances and with very little background. I mean, she's not hyper educated, she's just a graduate. And it's just emotional strength and resilience of uh, not only herself, but giving us as a role model that you need to be able to face things with equanimity. I think she's a great example of that. She's a keen sportswoman.
Uh-huh.
She's a championship golfer. I was always very active in sports, and I think somewhere I've seen in her that energy and this never say die kind of. Only sports gives you that kind of, that spirit of not giving up. I've never found anybody who's very active in sports um, ever be down on themselves. I've never
I
found
totally
that.
agree. Sports gives you that high.
Yeah. And my father, because I think, honestly speaking, and with all humility, because my dad is strongest for everybody, I would say is probably the single most brilliant man I've ever met in my life, bar none. Knew everything about everything. He was our before Wikipedia was invented. My father was my Wikipedia, and he knew
That's where the
everything.
brain comes from.
And and sort of, I think from my father I get this constant curiosity for life.
It's superb the way you've lived, the way you're living, the way you're inspiring. There's many wow moments in your life, and the music that you emanate, play is giving others inspiration and goosebumps. Which has been your wow moment, or a couple of moments where you felt, wow, this is just the best moment of my life.
Particularly, I think a school that I visited in recently in Hosur in Tamil Nadu. It's the Sishya school, and I walked in and there were 500 children coming in and mobbing me.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not a cinema star or a sports personality or a viral Instagram celebrity or anything like that. I'm just a humble teacher and a musician. And the fact they were mobbing me, I felt somewhere that the ideas that I've created for them has reached them.
Absolutely.
And I find that the purest form of mobbing, right?
Purest form
Because there's no
of mobbing.
selfies there, so it's
the
only
purest
it's only
form
love.
of mobbing. I
There's
like
no-
it.
So I think that's an aha moment. I think India constantly wows me, Vikji. I've thanks to working with children and working in the grassroots, I've traveled the length and breadth, and I mean the more you discover about India, I think the more you discover what you don't know.
I think we
know.
share that love, and we went to Dharamshala together.
Yeah.
You organized a beautiful retreat for high-end educationists and a great group of people. We met in Chandigarh for the first time, and we were speaking on stage. I think that zest for life is evident, Anilji. But before you say anything else, why don't you play something more for us? Or maybe
Okay.
you want to say something and then play.
Okay,
Couple of more
I'll play.
compositions.
No, so this is my tribute to where you come from, and the uh, the beauty of Hindustani classical music.
Right on. So devotional, so beautiful, so beautiful. And Lata ma'am comes to my mind
Same.
as I hear.
So
It's so
see how
beautiful.
quickly our culture unites us, right? So
Absolutely, absolutely.
from Panchkula to a studio in Chennai, right?
Chennai.
We're all connected
Offbeat.
in offbeat.
And I can only applaud. Absolutely
Thank you.
fabulous, mesmerizing music, magical. And Anil ji, keep playing, keep inspiring, keep giving your gyan, your knowledge, your considerable insights to the youth of the nation, especially. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Vivek ji, to have me on Good Vibes. I think the simplest answer and the simplest solution is the name of your show. The only thing we need is good vibes.
The only thing we need is good vibes. And here's to friendship, Anil ji.
Thank you.
Great to have you on the show, and we'll be back with more. But this has been a pure joyful moment for me.